Okay, everybody, welcome to Jerusalem. And to be more specific, let me get my. Welcome to the old city of Jerusalem. And you can see we're in the middle of our second wave here. Hi, I'm Jake Purcell, and you're going to be your guide today on this virtual tour of the old city of Jerusalem. And you can see the walls here. And those of you who have been here before, you probably remember this fella here selling these rolls we call bagel. Nothing to do with American bagels. Bagels in the United States are only in America. And it's a Eastern Europe Jewish American thing. Israelis don't eat bagels. That's our bagel right there. So here we are at taking a look at the walls here, and the walls date from 1540 thereabouts, and they were built over the Crusader walls. Now if we look just over here, you see there's an entrance that's plugged up, and we see older stones. So this just might be the Crusader entrance, but we know exactly when it was built because there are two inscriptions in Arabic that tell us that this was built by a fellow named Suleiman the Magnificent. And he builds these walls more of an ornament than for defensive purposes. So this is probably the gate that most tourists go through. This is Jaffa Gate, and it's called Jaffa Gate because this road right up there is Jaffa Road. So that goes all the way to Jaffa, which is, of course, today's Tel Aviv. Now, you'll notice that when you go in, you make this 90-degree turn. And this was to slow down the impetus of an attacking army. And up there, we see a little room with no floor. You see there's a grate up there. I don't know if you can have to make it out. There's a grate up there. And that's called a maturation. And that was to pour boiling oil on attackers. So we're going to go in the gate. Now notice that there is a mezuzah. That's the Jewish, 5 Jewish quotes from the Bible that tell us to put something like this. And then we see this big door. This is a modern door. And you'll see the door within a door. Now you'll be told that this is called the eye of the needle. And the eye of the needle is where you would have city gates, but then you would have a small opening called the eye of the needle. And if you remember, those of you who know the story in Christian scripture, when Jesus said it's easier for rich men to pass through the eye of the needle than to get into heaven, it's a teaching tool. What is he talking about? Well, if you look at the door, you can get a camel through there, but what do you have to do? You have to unload it. So what Jesus is saying, you can't take it with you. You can't take it with you. Do something good with it before you go to the next world, the next place. So here we are walking through Jaffa Gate, and guess what, folks? This is a time when this is summer vacation. Today is August 17th, 2020, and you see here a big opening. Now this opening was made in 1898 so that the Kaiser of Germany, Kaiser Wilhelm II, Wilhelm II, could march through here there in his entourage, and he came on a horse because he wanted to show that he came as someone with strength, not as a conqueror, because this area was controlled by Turkey, by the Ottoman Empire, 122 years ago. But what I want to talk about now is let's go to the map and let's just see where we are here. And today we're only going to be in the Armenian Quarter and the market. So here's Jaffa Gate right here. And if you know Jerusalem, notice Jerusalem is shaped like almost like sort of squarish. There's a northern side, a southern side, an eastern side, and a western side. And then there's this street that cuts the old city right in half. And that street was actually paved by the Romans when they had destroyed Jerusalem a second time. And the then emperor, a guy named Hadrian, said, okay, I've had it with the Jews. I'm going to rename the city Jerusalem to Aelia Capitolina. Aelia was his clan name. Capitolina after Zeus Capitolina. And all Roman cities had a north-south street that ran through the city, bisected the city, called a cardo. And then they had an east-west street that cut through the city called a decumanus. So you see more or less sort of a grid pattern here in Jerusalem. And that grid pattern is Roman. However, there are almost no Roman remains, 2,000, 1,900, 1,800 years ago. Almost no Roman remains in Jerusalem. So Jerusalem is split up into 4 quarters. As we come in, the quarter on our left is the Christian quarter, because in the middle of the Christian quarter is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. On our right, when we come in, the Armenian Quarter, that's where we're going here. In the center of the Armenian Quarter is St. James Cathedral. James, Jacob, the brother of Jesus, who was martyred around the year 50 something. Past the Armenian Quarter, the Jewish Quarter. Of course, the Jewish Quarter, the center of life in the Jewish Quarter, is the Western Wall, sometimes referred to as the Wailing Wall. The largest quarter in the Old City is the Muslim Quarter. You see how big it is. And the Muslim Quarter is to be close to the Temple Mount, especially the Dome of the Rock. Now, the Old City is not big. It's 1 square kilometer and some change. And it has 7 gates. Jaffa Gate, as we go clockwise, 2 gates in the south, Zion Gate, Dung Gate. Only 1 operating gate on the east, the Lion's Gate, sometimes called St. Stephen's Gate. In the north, 3 gates, Herod's Gate, Damascus Gate, and the New Gate. The New Gate's new is, I think the date is 1893. So we're going to, so as we walk in, like I said, as we walk in, we have the Christian Quarter on our right, and we have and you'll notice that all the shops are closed. Now, they usually open a little later anyway, but because there's absolutely no incoming tourism, Israelis don't shop here. Israelis don't need to buy, plastic, whatever. They don't need that stuff. So I'm looking to see where my friends are. Hold on. Just take a short break here. Okay. So here we are at Jaffa Gate. We walk in, there's this plaza here, and we're going to go to you'll see there's this big structure on our right as we walk in. And what we see, and you have to be careful here because there's one-way traffic, is there's a moat. You'll see there's a moat here, and there's a wall that's built on an angle. That's called the Tailless Wall. And when you see moats and you see these walls that are slanted, that says one thing, that says Crusaders. So the Crusaders add on to that tower right there that I'm pointing at, and that tower was originally built by Herod the Great. So Herod the Great rules Judea he's actually crowned king of Judea, the Roman province of Judea, by the Roman Senate. He's at Rome's behest, he's crowned king. He's a Roman client king. He serves Rome. Rome tells you to jump, of course you say how high. And as we walk around this tower, I want you to look at the tower. Now, the tower today is about 80 feet tall, but when Herod originally built it, it was about 127 feet, 128 feet tall. And there were 3 of them here. We think this tower is called the Hippicus Tower, named after his best friend, The other two towers were the Mariamne Tower, named after his second wife, who he loved very much, but of course had her murdered. She was a Jewish princess, Hasmonean. She was a Maccabee, the last. Her sons are also executed by Herod, but Herod's grandson by her will become a king called Agrippa, the first of Judea. Now, so we have here this Crusader Wall, and what I want you to notice is you'll see the stones. Some of the stones have like this frame around them, and when you see stones with the frame around them, that tells you that that's Herodian. That's Herod's mark. But later research has revealed that if that doesn't mean that Herod made, that those stones were put up in Herod's time. It just tells us that those stones were built in the Herodian and after period. A lot of the building actually being done with those stones being done when a guy named Pontius Pilate is the ruler of Judea. The kings have been replaced by direct Roman rule, by a prefect, and of course the most famous one being Pilate, the one who executes Jesus. So talking about Jesus, here we are at the Christ Church. Now this is all the Armenian Quarter, okay, and Christ Church here, and I'm going to see if I can just walk in a little bit. Usually they don't like me to do that. Now the gate is closed, but you'll notice that it's kind of interesting. This is a English Anglican church, but if you look at the sign, it's written in Hebrew. And you'll see not a cross, but a Jewish star in the Hebrew name Emmanuel. So this church was built, go ahead, it's okay, you can walk through my frame. This church was built by the British in 1849, and the idea was to proselytize among the Jews. Evangelical Christianity does not begin in the Bible Belt, folks. It begins in England. And the British set up a non-profit organization called the Society for the Promulgation of Christianity Among the Jews in the Holy Land. And they come here and they build this compound here. And the idea was to convert Jews to Christianity. Now, I don't want to offend anybody, but if you want to piss off Jews, that's what you do. We don't like missionary work among us. So I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody here, but that's something you should know, that in Israel we intensely dislike missionizing among Jews. When the Messiah comes, he'll take care of everything. What will be, that's not our worry. Okay, so as we walk further on, we see the Tower of Herod, and then we see this big complex here, and this is the Tower of David Museum. The spire we see over there, that round structure, that's actually a minaret. That's a Muslim praying structure. But today it's called the Tower of David. And this whole structure is the museum called the Tower of David Museum. And if you come here, it's definitely worth a visit. Definitely worth a visit. The lookout on top from where those flags are is quite spectacular. Maybe I'll do it another day, but we're going to now explore the Armenian Quarter. But I have to point out with this police station. This police station was originally built by the Turks, and it has a Turkish name, the Kishli. And why is this important? Because 2,000 years ago, what was here was Herod's palace. Herod the Great's palace was here in Jerusalem, and during the Jewish holidays, Herod would come here to keep an eye on things. Herod dies in 4 BC. Later, the Romans get here, and during Jewish holidays, during Jewish festivals, the Roman prefect would stay here. And the forecourt of the fortress was where the Praetorian Guard, where the Roman bodyguard of the prefect would be bunked. A praetorium. And we know that when Jesus is tried by Pilate, he's tried in the praetorium. So guys, now there's this Turkish structure here, but underneath, inside about 100 feet is where Jesus is tried by Pilate. Okay, so that's what we have here. Now, we are walking in the Armenian Quarter, and the thing is, in the Armenian Quarter, there's one-way traffic. There are buses here. They're kind of small, but we have bus traffic. And we have these, of course, tourist sites that are all closed. The tourist sites are all closed here. So we're going to, these are shops that sell glazed porcelain. It's kind of cheaply made. When you come here, don't try to spend more than $10 on anything, on any Armenian porcelain, unless you go into one of these shops where they're handmade and hand painted. That's a different story. But it is a very nice souvenir, and you're, of course, if you come here, you're helping out the Armenian people. Now you'll see a sign here, and I want you to read it very carefully. It says, "I remember and demand justice." And it's written in Armenian, and English, Arabic, and Hebrew. And of course, it's talking about the Armenian Genocide, which took place in World War I, where the Turks, which is a Muslim country, perpetrated a genocide on the Armenian, their own citizens. And most experts say between 1 million and 1.5 million Armenians were murdered, mainly by just being driven out in the desert and starved to death and then shot. So we can see that they're doing reconstruction work. I have to go there. You can see the traffic here is slow, but what I want to do now is, and I'm going to have to kind of do this on the slide because they don't like me to film here. And this is the main thing to see in the Armenian Quarter, and this is the Armenian Conde de Saint-Jacques, of course, French St. James. James, the English verb used of Jacob, the brother of Jesus. Don't get him confused with the two disciples, James the Greater and James the Lesser. Okay, this is James, the brother of Jesus. And we're going to walk through, take my head off here, and let me see if I can just say hello. No filming, okay, so they're not going to let me film? Okay, that's what I figured. You're not allowed to film in Christian sites. Just between you and me, the church is closed. There's not a whole lot to see here. So we're going to continue on. When I do a tour, I go in there, and it's just a courtyard, so we're not missing. They see me with the camera. If I had the camera clipped on with a wireless mic, I might have been able to go on, but again, no. So what we see here is a seminary. And this is probably the main reason. Let's see if it comes with something else noisy. Whenever I want to talk, there's noise. So let's let these. And this is an integral part of your tour, is whenever I start talking, tractors and jackhammers start. So this is the Armenian Seminary, and this is where Armenian priests are trained. So if you graduate number 1 in your class, you go to the church that the Kardashians go to. And if you're the anchor man, you probably end up somewhere in, somewhere in Armenia. Yeah. Most Armenians in the world today that are churchgoers live in the United States. And I think most of them in California. So whether the Kardashians are churchgoers, that's a good question. All I know is they're not here. So what I want you to notice also is everything is walled in. You'll see that on both sides, it's all walled. And the question is why? Why are the Armenians walling themselves in everywhere? And the answer is because from the year 638, except for a 88-year respite, until the 20th century, Jerusalem is a Muslim city. And Christians living under Muslim rule and Jews are called dhimmis. They're second-class citizens. And they're at the mercy of whatever ruler, whatever Muslim ruler is there. Now, another thing I want to show you is that a lot of the Armenian Quarter is empty. So if we go look over here, a parking lot and a big empty field, you can imagine the archaeological treasures that lie underneath. But the Armenians aren't going to start, they can't build anything, because if you build something in Israel, you need a building permit. And to get a building permit, oh, they have a new walkway here. Let's go on this side. Oh, this is new. Okay, so they have a law that if you build something with a building permit, you have to bring an archaeological survey. So if the survey finds something of value, they'll stop the building project and they'll say, okay, it's now property of the state of Israel, and we'll give you alternative land somewhere else, and that can be anywhere. So the Armenians aren't taking any chances. They're not going to build anything in the old city. So a lot of Armenian property just lies empty. So here we are now at the northern wall. The northern wall here. And those of you who have walked this is new. We used to walk on the other side, but now they have I guess they took the time when there's nobody here. Like I said, there are just about no tourists here. And there's a fellow I know. Let's see if he'll say hello. I'm wearing a mask, so not everybody recognizes me. So here we go. And it is, what time? 10 o'clock? Let's see what time it is. 1:45. All right. 9:45. So right over here is on our left. That's a school. The Armenians have a private school for their kids. Most Armenians, by the way, how many people live in the Armenian Quarter? Armenians, residents at less than 1,000. In the Jewish quarter, about 4,000. In the Christian quarter, about 1,300, 1,400. And in the Muslim quarter, about 30,000. That's it. And that's less than 5% of the total population of Jerusalem. Jerusalem's population today is almost 900,000. So we're coming to the near the end of our little walk here, the Armenian Quarter. And what we're going to go through is another gate, and this is not the north side, this is the south side. And this is Zion Gate. Now you'll notice, again, you have to make these 90-degree turns. And I'll turn around and look at the gate, show you where we are on the map, and that will be enough for Armenian. That's what I do. And so this is Zion Gate, and you can see all over bullet holes. And the bullet holes are from mainly the 1948 War of Independence, where the only place we got whooped by Arab forces was in the Jerusalem sector by the Jordanian Legion. They were officered by British officers. Their commander was a British nobleman by the name of Sir John Bagot Glubb. He was called Glubb Pacha. And he and his British officers led the Jordanian Legion to throw out the Jews in the Jewish quarter. Jews had been living here since Crusader times. You know, the Crusaders were ejected and Jews were allowed to, again, live in the city. Jews had been living in the city before the Crusaders came, since the Muslim conquest in 638 to 1099 in July, when Jerusalem falls to the Crusaders. The Crusaders come and kill all Muslims and all Jews in this city. Okay, so Zion Gate recaptured by Israeli forces in June, I think June 8th, 1967. So guys, where did we go? We didn't have very much of a long walk, and there wasn't a lot to see, because quite frankly, there's not a lot to see in the Armenian Quarter. So here we have where we started, and we walked along this road, We tried to go into the cathedral. They wouldn't let us in. So what we did, we just walked over here to Zion Gate. Now, you can walk to the next tour. We'll start right here. We'll start at the Zion Gate, and then we'll do the Jewish Quarter tour. That will be sometime when the weather's not so darn hot as it is now. Okay, so people kind of look at me. He's talking to himself. No, I'm talking to you. So I'm Jake Fursell. This is the tour I do when I come to the Armenian Quarter, and a whole lot more. When I do the 4-quarter tour of Jerusalem, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot to see in the Armenian Quarter. So stay safe, wear a mask, wash your hands, keep 6 feet apart, stay healthy, and God willing, we'll see you here in Jerusalem very soon. Bye now.